I had the most intense and important conversation that I think I've ever had with kids today. And that's not me being dramatic. It is absolutely true. Today is day 94 of my Practicing Visibility series. It's not going to be a long video because I don't have a lot of battery left. I got a chance to work with a group of seventh grade boys at this middle school, and it was my first time here. And this group was told to me by several adults in the space, very difficult. Not bad kids is what they said. They're not bad kids, but their behavior, and they were a little afraid that if they didn't get a little bit of guidance, that they might go into, worse behaviors. And I met with them yesterday for the first time. I met with several groups, but we started talking. Me and these seventh grade boys, we started talking about what it's like to be a young person and why it feels difficult trying to understand adults and have adults understand them. And the conversation just started to open up all of these really huge insights, and the young people were sharing them with me. And I remember thinking, this is exactly what I tell people the work is like, and I never get to show it. And so luckily for me, the boys requested a second meeting today. And to be fair, right, a couple of the adults who helped me were like, yeah, I think they're just trying to get out of class. I know that they appreciate the space, but they're trying to get out of class. They came into that room and literally we talked the entire time. We jumped directly back into it, and we were having these conversations about what it's like to be a young person, how society treats young people, what it means to reimagine masculinity and strength, and how my belief of the fact that young people, instead of trying to get adults to understand them, they need to start to understand themselves more. And the coolest part about it was we talked for quite a while, and at the end of it, because it was towards the end of the day, the boys told me, they were like, hey, listen, we did also want to get out of class, but we wanted to be here because we like how it felt and we liked the conversation. And it's I'm just talking to these young men. They're seventh grade boys, but in this space, it was just the most, I don't know, it was the most observant, insightful, honest conversation about the state of young people and the state of the world and what they can do to kind of break the pattern, which is a theme that they talked about a lot. At one point, I had a young man who does not follow me on social media, so he did not see the post because, again, I've only been here for 2 days, right? The kids didn't even know that I was on social media until today. He said exactly what I said on a TikTok yesterday, which is adults don't recognize that they influence us through the way that they act. And so they do things, they tell us not to do it, and then we see them do it, and then they get mad at us when we do it. And I almost screamed, I almost cried, I almost threw up, honestly, because that's exactly what I said yesterday. And to have young people say that when that's the basis of my work just made me feel like this is it. So the cool part about this is the school gave me permission, the boys gave me permission to record the conversation. When I first told them that I was going to try to record it, I said I didn't feel comfortable because they had opened up so much the day before, and I didn't want to break trust, right? I didn't want them to feel used for content, even though I thought that the conversation should be shared. A couple of boys were like, well, I wouldn't care. And then they started saying it out loud where they were like, I think it would be cool. We would love to be content and talk about this stuff. I think what's important to recognize is I will share content with young people speaking when they're speaking about the world, when they're speaking about society, or they're speaking about their communities. I don't like to share content if it's them talking about themselves because that feels very personal. But what they were talking about was so huge. So I asked everyone, I was like, are you okay if I record myself? You can see me, they can't see you, but they can hear what we're talking about. And they were super excited. And my favorite part of this whole thing was at the very end of it, they were just really upset because they were like, we don't want to leave this space. I mean, it was the most flow space. It was 40 minutes and it felt like 10. Nobody in that space wanted to leave. And two of the boys told me that they didn't even have to be there. And I was like, well, yeah, I know you could be in class. You chose to be here. And they were like, no, we don't have to be at school. Because at this school, some of the kids don't have a last period and they're able to check out and go home early. And two of these boys stayed to stay in conversation. They were like, we wanted to come back and keep talking. And it's just wild. And we talk about young people all the time not caring, and we talk about them not being motivated. And what I see and what I'm trying to help people understand is, what if we create more spaces that were intrinsically motivating for young people? They chose to come there. There was no prize. There was no reward. I mean, I gave them In-N-Out gift cards, but they were not expecting it, which is what they told me, right? And they chose to show up, and they want to do it again. And I don't know if they'll have time this week for me to meet with them again, but by the end of it, they started talking about, what do we do? Like, what, maybe we can be people that influence people. Maybe we can make it cool, right? Maybe we can help adults see this. And the big takeaway I wanted them to understand is like, we need to stop worrying about what adults feel about you, and we need to start worrying about what you feel about you. Because in a lot of ways, it's very hard to change people's minds, especially adults. So over the next couple of weeks, I don't know when I'm going to do it. I'm going to just take some clips from those conversations. Um, I'm just blown away by the maturity. I'm blown away by the conversation, the honesty, the accountability, right? It wasn't just like adults are bad. They were also holding themselves accountable. At one point, one of the boys even said, now that we've talked about why adults do the things that they do and why they treat us the way that they do in terms of conditioning and continuing patterns and how this has always been a thing that society has done, he was like, we can't start acting bad just because we know this. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we can't like go up to the adults and be like, you can't tell me what to do. You're conditioned. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think that. And they were already thinking about, just because we know this doesn't mean that we get to act in a way that is going to cause harm to people. So I'm just blown away by it. It was absolutely one of the best conversations I've ever had with any kids in the entire time I've worked with people. I mean, 15 years of working with kids. And I just remember thinking, this is the show. If I could have like a round table with young people and we could talk about societal problems and we could help kids learn in the moment, not just about why people do what they do, but why they do what they do, I'm telling y'all, it's a game changer. I will see you tomorrow.